So, we all know that all of the matters and objects and living things in our life are made of atoms. So those two images over here are the example objects that are viewed under the atomic level, and those small circles right here represent for the atoms. So the question is, how can we distinguish between those two objects? Like what makes them different from one another? So what makes each object different from one another is actually the arrangement of those atoms. So let's say this object can have the arrangement of atoms in a straight line. But for this object, it can have the arrangement in a zigzag direction. So those different arrangements will make those two objects different from one another. And similarly, for the semiconductor material, its structure in the atomic level can also vary in different semiconductor materials due to the difference in the arrangement of atoms. And as I mentioned before, semiconductor is a solid material, therefore it's gonna have a solid structure. So there are three types of the solid structure. The first one gonna be the amorphous, and the second one gonna be the crystalline, and the third one gonna be the polycrystalline. So let's talk about the amorphous structure. So in amorphous structure, the arrangement of atoms does not have any particular order, or another way to say is that it have an organized structure. So an organized. So now let's have some example. I'm gonna draw one random object, and since the arrangement is unorganized, doesn't have any particular order, so those atoms right here are gonna have some random and unorganized arrangement. So it can have a zigzag arrangement, or this point can connect to this point, or this point can connect to this point, or this point can connect to this point randomly right here, or it can move right here. So basically the arrangement is completely out of order, or doesn't have any organized arrangement. So how about crystalline? So the crystalline structure is going to be the opposite of the amorphous. So in crystalline structure, the arrangement of atoms has to be in order and also has a particular pattern that's going to be repeated across the entire crystalline material. So two characteristics: it has to be order arrangement, and it also has a repeated pattern. So let's say we have some random object, and the arrangement of those atoms inside it gonna be a straight line. So now let's check if this met the criteria of the crystalline structure. So those atoms gonna have a straight line order, as you can see. So it's kind of past the first one. Has to be arranged in an order way, like this: straight line, straight line, straight line. It doesn't look like this, which is messed up and kind of look unorganized. And what about the repeated pattern? So if you pick only 2 points or 2 atoms, you're gonna have one straight blue line in here. And if you have the next 2 points, you also have another straight line, and another next pair you also have a straight line. Similar to down here, you have straight line, straight line. So basically the pattern is the blue straight line, and then it's repeated everywhere. You see down here also have like 3 straight line, down here also make up by 3 straight line. So this is the repeated pattern, so it's fit the second criteria. So what about the polycrystalline? So polycrystalline is kind of similar to the crystalline. It also have some order arrangement. However, those order arrangement are in different segments. So like order in segment. So what do I mean by this? Let's have one example. So this is the polycrystalline structure, and you can see the structure inside is kind of be split into different segments. So you have this segment right here, this segment right here, this segment right here, this segment right here, and this segment right here. So the total of like 5 segments. So in order to be ordered in segment, those atoms in each segment has to be arranged in the order way. So let's have a straight line arrangement of atoms in each segment. So we're gonna have a straight line in this segment, straight line in this segment, straight line in this segment. So now our example object finally fit the definition of polycrystalline. It's gonna have order arrangement of atoms in segment